Welcome to the second video of Chapter 4. This lesson is on finding factors and prime factorization. This is one of my favorite lessons of the year, so I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Here we go. Here's our goals today. Students will be able to define prime factorization and factors. Students will be able to find the prime factorization of a number, and students will be able to list all factors of a number. We will add this in class to our vocab, but you can go ahead and write this on your note sheet. Our two words are factor and prime factorization. A factor is a number that goes into a larger number evenly. So if I were to list the factors of 12, the ways to make 12 are 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. So all 6 of these numbers go into 12 evenly. So if I was to list the factors of 12, I would say that 1 goes in evenly, as does 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Don't forget that 1 and 12 are also factors of 12. So that's what a factor is. When I divide by the factors, I'm going to get a nice even number. Prime factorization is when you write a number as a list of its prime factors. So for example, a way to make 12 is by doing, well, let's go ahead. We're going to do a tree. You'll see this in the lesson. We can multiply 2 times 6. When we get a prime number, we circle it. To make 6 is 2 times 3. So the prime factorization is 2 times 2 times 3. These are all prime numbers. When we multiply them back together, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. We get back to where we started. So this right here is the prime factorization of 12, but we'll learn a lot more about that really soon here. All right, just a little bit of review. We need to know which numbers between 1 and 20 are prime, because as we do our factor trees, we have to know when to stop. So I want you to pause the video and list as many prime numbers as you can think of between 1 and 20 on your notes. So you need to write this on your notes. When you think you have them all, go ahead and unpause the video and see if you're right. All right, these are the numbers you should have listed. We talked about this in the last lesson. The way that I know it is prime is that there are only 2 factors. The only numbers that go in evenly would be, of course, we can divide any number by 1 and then by itself. So whatever the number is can be divided by itself. So the only way to multiply 2 numbers and get 2 would be 2 times 1. 1 and itself. The only way to multiply 2 numbers to get 3 would be 3 times 1. 1 and itself. The only way to get 5 is, of course, 5 times 1, 1 in itself. 7, 7 times 1, 1 in itself. 11 times 1, and so on. So there aren't any other numbers besides 1 and itself that you can multiply to get these prime numbers. So that's just a review of prime. If you can kind of memorize that these are the prime numbers between 1 and 20, that will help you out today. So then, of course, remember these are composite numbers. They have more than 2 factors. So let's list the ways. I want you to list on your notes with me. What are all the ways that we can multiply 2 numbers to get 24? Well, 1 times 24. How about 2 times 12? 3 times 8, 4 times 6, and that's it. So the factors of 24, we're going to actually write those, learn to do those on a T-chart today. So I'd put this pair, 1 goes with 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6, 5 doesn't go in, and then we're back to 6. So this is how we're going to organize this idea today on these T-charts. Then I can use my T-chart to list all the factors of 24, because you're going to be asked to do that a lot. I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to do them in order from least to greatest. So let's list the factors of 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. That's all the factors of 24. Let's try the same thing for 16. So the ways to make 16 would be 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. That's it. Let's organize that on a T-chart. Again, 1 goes with 16, 2 goes with 8, 4 goes with 4. So if I were to list all the factors of 16, I would just list all the numbers on my T-chart from least to greatest. 1, comma 2, 4, we only need to list it once, 8, and 16. So that's how we find the factors of a number, and that's what a factor is. So now let's go ahead and do my favorite part, and that is our factor trees. So in my factor trees here, the number we are working with is at the base of the tree. The roots grow down into the ground from there. The roots are going to be made up of all the factors in the number. When a root stops and can go no further, you're going to circle it. That means that number is prime. So you might want to go back and refer to our list of prime numbers between 1 and 20. When you get to a prime number, you're going to circle it. This will become one of the prime factors of the number. Remember, prime means it cannot be divided any further. So for each of these numbers, you have this page in your packet. So I want you to turn to that page, and you're going to do this with me. We're going to do the factor tree, but we're also going to list all the factors of the number. So let's start with 36. Let's start by listing all the factors. So let's put 36 on our T-chart. What I'm going to do is list all the ways to make 36. I'm going to start with 1. Does 1 go into 36? Yes. 1 and 36. So 1 times 36. Now let's try 2. Does 2 go into 36? Yes. 2 times 18. Now, to help you with this, you could always use a calculator to divide and see if it goes in evenly, or a multiplication chart if you're having trouble. Now we did 1 and 2. Let's try 3. Yep. 6 plus 3 is 9, so I know it's divisible by 3. And 3 goes in 12 times. I know that 4 times 9 is 36. And 6 times 6. Once you have a double, you know that you're done. So these are all the factors of 36. So let's go ahead and list those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, and 36. That one has a lot. So you can see how this T-chart makes it nice and organized, really easy to solve. All right, so let's go ahead and find the prime factorization now. I'll show you how to do that. Like I said, I think this is kind of fun. So we start with our 36. We just pretend, we call them a factor tree, so I like to make my trees here. We're going to think of one way that I can multiply two numbers to get 36. It doesn't matter what you pick to go first. We can choose anything from this list. I think I'd like to try 3 and 12. So we're going to do 3 and 12. Now, if it's a prime factor, you're going to circle it. We can't divide 3 out anymore. This root is done. But we can keep factoring out 12. A way to make 12 is 2 times 6. 2 is prime, so we'll circle it. But let's keep going with our 6. 2 and 3, prime and prime. So once you've done your roots and divided out as far as you can, you're going to circle each of those prime numbers. To find our prime factorization, you're going to take each of the roots that you circled and multiply them by each other. So our answer is going to be 3, and we'll use a dot for multiplication. 3 times 2 times 2 times 3. Now, there's a better way to write this, and that is using exponents. Instead of saying 3 times 3, I could just say 3 to the second power. Times, instead of 2 times 2, I could just say 2 to the second power. Either answer is correct, but this is really how a mathematician is going to be writing it. So we can prove that this is the right answer, because if I do 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 times 3, I get back to 36. All right, let's try 66. We're going to start with our factor tree and see if we can find all the factors of 66. So we'll go ahead and start with 1. 1 times 66. Then you just ask yourself, does 2 go into it? Yes, it does. 2 times 33. How about 3? Yep, times 22. And 4. Let's see. 4 1, nope, doesn't, 4 doesn't go into it. 5, no. 6 does. 6 times 11. 7, no. 8, no. 9, no. 10, no. And then I'm back to 11. So here's all my factors right here. Let's list those. 1, 2, 3, 6, 11, 22, 33, and 66. So go ahead and take a second to do that if you haven't already. And then we'll go ahead and do our prime factorization. So again, I'm going to go ahead and pick one of these ways to make 66, and I think I'll try 2 and 33. Now 2 is prime, so we'll circle that. To make 33, I can do 3 times 11. 3 and 11 are both factors. I know that that's prime, and I know that that's prime. So I am done. So my prime factorization is going to be 2 times 3 times 11. If you need to catch up, go ahead and pause the video and do that. All right, let's try a couple more. 81. Let's put that on our T-chart and see how many ways we can make 81. 1 times 81. 2 doesn't go into it. It's not even. 3 does. It's going to be 3 times 27. 4, no. 5, no. 6, no. 7, no. 8, no. And 9 times 9.